How's it going, YouTube? Jamie the Kid00 here. It has been far too long. It's been nearly 3 weeks since I recorded a video last, and I really have no excuses for that. I'm going to try and keep this brief because this is a deck profile, and I'm probably going to post a more personal video later on, but I really have no good excuse for just not posting videos. I've been having really bad writer's block, and I just can't really come up with anything, but I finally found an excuse to make a video. I've been playing Prophecy and various Prophecy builds for the past couple of weeks for locals and things like that, and I finally managed to get hold of my second judgment. I've been playing one and doing fairly well with it, but I've managed to get a second, and this is kind of the deck I've been fooling around with on Dueling Network for a while. The decks I've been playing at locals have been various different priestess oriented builds. This is the Priestessless Kaiku build, and I actually really enjoy the way this tests. I've been playing around and changing quite a few things and playing really weird things in this, like I've been playing one Apprentice Magician and things like that, but this is the build I'm kind of comfortable with, and this is probably the most mainstream one. It does have two judgments. That is mainly a limitation because I only own two, but I feel that you don't specifically need the third. The third is great to have, don't get me wrong, but the deck is fully functional with at least one. 2 is a comfortable number, and 3 is like absolute perfection because of course you want to draw it. But Two is alright. 2 is very playable. Do not fret if you don't have the third, but if you're going to go into a competitive environment, you want to have the third, because anyone who has the third will beat you, to be fair. Either way, let's get into the video, and we'll see how this goes. So for the list, I play 11 monsters. I play 3 copies of Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. This deck is very anti-meta oriented. Kaiku deals with anything that basically runs an Elemental Dragon engine and thrives off of said Elemental Dragon engine. It also kills loads of things that rely on their graveyard, because if you can get a poke in, which is very easy to do, seeing as this deck main Spellbook of Power, it's so easy, and this card puts in so much control, and it's really quite easy to make a 4 off of Judgment Day, so you can get this guy played in your end phase. The main concern in the meta currently is other Prophecy players and Elemental Dragons, and this card stops both of those decks in their tracks. Probably the perfect lock this deck can do is putting a Kaiku and a Jowgon on board, and you've pretty much won any game situation against a deck that involves special summoning or special summoning from the graveyard. So, like, you have a really good lock in the main deck. Then continuing on, we play 2 copies of Tsukuyomi. I've recently bumped up from one. One was putting in so much work that the only problem was I didn't have it when I specifically needed it. Also, I'm sorry if there's for the crunching in the background. Cupcakey is like eating pasta, so it's putting me off. But the 2 Tsukuyomi really deal with so many threatening cards, and this has been mostly effective against things like Thunder King. And cards and my opponent's Kaikus and things to that nature, or just things that I can't kill while they're face up. And this card just puts in so much work, so, and other Jowgons and things like that, and it also works really nicely for recycling my Spellbook Magicians, and it's just an all-round really versatile card, and I really like the way it performs. And with power, it's 21, which is higher than most defenses of most monsters in play at the moment, and Power Master makes it 31, so it can deal with almost anything, and flip cards face down, which is really quite hard to kind of negate or stop at the moment, so it's really good. I really like Tsukuyomi. Then I play 3 copies of Spellbook Magician, your Stratos, simply. It gets your engine going. Opening this Judgment or this Secrets is the nuts, so it's so good, so good. Then I play 1 Jowgon, which is kind of sad because I keep on drawing this, I keep on opening this 1 Jowgon. I keep blaming it on the fact that it's the Tournament Pack one and not the easier to find rare version, but I don't have a rare, so I can't change it out, and I have to just keep hoping I don't draw this. But like 1 in 2 games, and that's not even a joke, I will open this, and it's not even funny, but it is what it is. Otherwise, Kaiku is really good, and like he's good enough to open. Like his kill stuff effect is really good, but it's just like opening him really upsets you when you've got your Judgment play as well, so, oh well. I then play 2 copies of Effect Veiler in the main. I don't feel that 3 is necessary. 2 is a good number, because he's searchable by Star Hole, and your Star Holes will get destroyed eventually. Some people will kill your Star Holes and give you your Veilers, so 2 Veilers is the good enough number. I side the 3rd, nonetheless. So that's the monster lineup. It is 11 monsters, so it's very simple, and you basically end up playing a game of Protect the Kaiku with this deck. You just want to protect the Kaiku and keep cycling your Sook. That's basically what you want to do. And I mean, it gets to a point where your Spellbook Magicians get big enough to be attackers anyway, but early game, your Kaikus are your main aggressors. Okay, into the spell lineup. So this is where the deck brings its power in. The deck plays 3 copies of Spellbook Library of the Crescent. Now, people who saw some of my earlier videos knew that I was playing with this card in the Priestess variant. So I've been called a net decker on like Dueling Network recently for playing this in the Kaiku build and saying, yeah, that is the popular Kaiku build. I've loved this card. This card is really good. I've loved it since Peter Gross was playing it last format. But this card puts in so much work. It's basically a powerful dragon for spellbooks, and it just means that if you don't open like Secret's Judgment, you have another chance to search out like your other combo piece. And if you search out, say you declare Secrets, you can also declare Master. And if they dice roll for your and give you Master, you can at least try again Crescent, because the ruling dictates of course you're activating Master as Master and it's resolving as Crescent, so you can have Master copy Crescent even if Crescent is in the grave. So, little ruling for you there. Then I play 3 copies of the important book, Spellbook of Secrets. Still gonna get one more ulti, playing 2 ultis in a foreign, so it's close enough. 2 copies of Spellbook of the Master. Some people say 3 is a viable number. I disagree. I really don't like 3 because you can end up with really cloggy hands. I mean, even with 2 here, I open up with like 2 copies of Master more often than I care to admit. So it's really quite painful. Then the true powerhouse of the deck. I play 2 copies of Spellbook of Judgment, mainly because I only own 2. It's a really good number. I'd gladly play the deck with 2. I'd gladly take it to a major event with 2 if I didn't have the money for the 3rd. But I don't feel... I'm not happy enough with the game currently to spend the money on the 3rd, and I don't really feel like spending the money on the 3rd currently, so... Like, this is some of the only cards that I've had to buy. I traded for the majority of this deck, but currently I'm just, like, because of the extreme difference in the meta, so many of my cards have gone down in value. Because the only good decks are Prophecy and Dragons, that my trades aren't strong enough to bring in Judgments really, so, and no one has Judgments for trade, so 2 is the number I'm playing. Then I play 2 copies of Spellbook Tower. I'm only playing 2 because of, like, there should be a 3rd Judgment in here, long story short. Yeah, I don't really like 2 Tower, but it is what it is, and, like, there have been some situations on Dueling Network, because on Dueling Network I play 1 Tower, 3 Judgment, where my 1 tower and my 2 fates are out of play, and that's really not nice. So having the 2nd tower is quite helpful. And I'm sorry about the noise in the background. I think Cupcake's watching something with headphones in. She can't hear me complaining about her, but she's making quite a lot of noise. Yeah, she can hear me. Anyway, then I play 2 copies of Spellbook of Fate. I don't feel that 3 is necessary. Some of these builds play 3. It's just a matter of player preference, and this is like one of the power cards of the deck. This basically is your defense. The deck has little to no defense besides this, Wisdom, and Threatening Roar. So this is one of your main defense cards and your main offense cards all at once. This is where a lot of your power comes in, and I really like this card. So Fate puts in so much work. I then play 3 copies of Spellbook Starhall. The one factor with this deck is, because you're not playing Priestess, you need a way to make your stuff huge, and Spellbook Starhall... it puts in unimaginable amounts of work. Like, once you've got 2 on board, it's so easy to get an extra 1,000 on each of your monsters. And the fact that if your opponent wants to kill it, if they're not playing spellbooks, they're going to have to destroy it because they can't fate it because they don't have fate. And they will destroy it, and they will give you access to, say, your Veilers, or if you need another Magician, or a Kaiku, or your Sook. It gives you access to almost any monster you play. So if your opponent's going to kill it, they're going to have to kind of hard kill it and give you a plus. I then play 2 copies of Spellbook of Power, going up from my usual 1, because of the fact that we play smaller monsters in this, and we need to get over bigger threats. The extra power is definitely warranted, so, like, this sees so much use in my build. It's unimaginably good. I then play 2 copies of Spellbook of Wisdom, because you need to keep your guys safe, because with such a small monster lineup, life isn't really going to help you that much. I play life, but life doesn't come in handy that often, so you really need your wisdoms to keep stuff alive. This deck is a lot more protective than the Priestess build, which can be a lot more aggressive. So this is a lot more control-y. Like, if you can have a control version of an aggressive deck, this is the control version. Then 1 Book of Eternity. I've considered bumping this to 2, but at the same time, 1 has proved better than 2 in testing. 2 got a lot more cloggy than I care to admit. So the 1 Eternity, it does the job. Then I play 1 copy of Life. This puts in a lot of work, but it is what it is. It's life. The one Day of Peace, I cut down all the upstart engine, but I still can't bring myself to cut the 1 day. I really like 1 day in tandem with Judgment and things like that, and it's just a really good defensive card as well. If I'm kind of if I've got a hand where I can't really play anything, or if I'm in if I'm in a tough spot, it basically says I don't lose that turn. And the fact that it's basically a -1 to you, because it allows your opponent to go +1 and you go +0. Because of the way this works with Spellbooker Judgment giving you an extra search, it basically turns it into a 1-for-1 rather than a -1. So it makes it a little bit more balanceable for your economy. Then I play one copy of Heavy Storm. Yes, I do play 3 Star Holes and Towers, but ultimately when I kill those, I get pluses. When I kill my opponent's back row, he doesn't get pluses. So if I'm gonna have to kill my Star Holes, at least I'm gonna get something back. And sometimes there are situations where I don't have wisdoms, and I just need to get my opponent's back row off the board, or if there are things like Macrocosmos that are weighing me down, the Storm is always going to be necessary, so it gives me that ability. And some people don't really expect Storm with this deck, which is kind of funny, so the ability to Storm someone's back row is always nice. I then play one Book of Moon, because this card is, like, I play this over Reborn and Darkhold. It is so good in this deck. Book of Moon puts in so much work with dealing with certain cards that you can't get past, like, say, Thunder King again. But it also allows you to, in the face of Veiler, book this if your opponent would respond with Veiler to its effect, and be able to get it searched that time, and B, search again when it's flipped face up again, or your opponent will have to commit an effect destruction to try and remove it without it flipping face up. So this puts in an unimaginable amount of work in the deck, and I vastly prefer it to Reborn and Darkhold in the deck, so I think that should be an example of how effective it is. Then for the trap lineup, I simply play 3 copies of Threatening Roar just to keep my guys safe and stop me getting OTK'd, because sometimes you will get OTK'd if they can push through your cards. So the 3T Roar is definitely something I would advocate, definitely something I wouldn't take out. But yeah, that is the complete main deck. The extra is, as always, my extras are really iffy, but it is what it is. You hardly ever use it in this deck, so we're going to go into it. Play 1 Armory Arm. You hardly ever make this. You make it a lot more in the Priestess build, but you still make it in this. The 1 Catastor. I hardly ever make this, but when you do make it, it's very critical. Hyper Librarian. Great for slowing down your opponent's Synchro decks. Great against Tempest Dragonities and whatnot. But it's also the fact that it's a spellcaster. It's 24 beta. It can kill over Catastor. And just the way it synergizes with the deck as a spellcaster is so good. I'm going to talk about these next two simultaneously. Arcanite Magician and Tempest Magician. These two cards both revolve around spell counters, and we have cards in this deck which abuse spell counters really nicely, which generate spell counters really nicely. These two cards in tandem with Spellbook Starhole put in unimaginable amounts of work. These Starholes will easily get to about 5 each, 4 each. And in tandem you can easily get, say, 20 on these, possibly even 25. And that's not even a joke, it's really, really easy to do. And that allows you to either set up plays where if you can only make Arcanite Magician, you can completely nuke their field 1 card at a time because of the way its effect works. Therefore, they cannot Starlight Road you. It's Black Rose, but they can't be Starlight Roaded. And then you have Tempest Magician, who can burn your opponent to death using the counters off Starhole, because they both say you can use spell counters from anywhere. So these two cards put in so much work in tandem with these cards. So definitely some combos you should watch out for. But yeah, continuing on with the extra deck. But yeah, there's definitely MVPs. Sorry, it's like 1 in the morning, so I'm kind of tired. I just really felt I should record a video for you guys. I then play 1 Black Rose for dealing with everything when I can't Arcanite things. Scrap Dragon, because it's another dealer. It just gets rid of stuff. I didn't like Stardust Dragon in this build. And then 1 Crimson Blader. Crimson Blader is kind of good for the reasons you'd expect it to be. Really good against dragons, really good against mermails, really good against other Prophecy players if they're playing the Priestess variant. So Crimson Blader is just good all round. Then I play for the Xyzes, which are kind of the things you make a little bit more than the Synchros, but it varies. 1 Gachi Gachi, because stalling is good. 1 Shining Elf, because this is a spellcaster, and it's actually really, really good. I kind of took the gambit of investing in these, and they really paid off. They're not worth any money still, but people really seem to want to find these, and they're really, really good. I really enjoy playing this card. It's probably the one of the 2 I make the most out of the 3 that I play in here. So definitely really good. The one Dagusto Phoenix, because you can occasionally OTK, and Phoenix is worth it for when you do. Then for the 4s, because you will occasionally make 4s, I play one Lavalval Chain for stacking the deck, if you will, and putting certain spellbooks in grave to kind of banish with Fate and then Eternity back to hand, or all sorts of things like that, or to master, or just various things. It's kind of nice. I then play one Abyss Dweller for dealing with certain E-Dragon situations and Momails and all sorts of things like that. So Abyss Dweller is still really good. And you can make him big by lifing a Spellbook Magician, by banishing another Spellbook Magician so it comes back as a level 4. And you can make him 22 because Spellbook Magician is a water. I then play one Maestroke because Maestroke is the most generic rank 4. It's just really, really good. And I'm then playing one Alchemic Magician over Shockmaster. You will hardly ever make this. Like I say, you never use the extra deck. Like you'll use the extra deck so many times and never use this, and you'll use this 1 in 100 games. But it will come out so incredibly strong because it gains 200 attack for every spell card in your graveyard, and you will have a lot. So this will come out at like 35, and it can in your end phase it can set any spell from your deck. It's pretty good, pretty good. So yeah, that has been my kind of long-winded. Jesus, 16 minutes. I don't normally go that long anymore. That's been my long-winded kind of Kaiku control spellbook deck. I know it's definitely nothing original. A lot of people have been testing this deck online and profiling it, and it's topped a few regionals and it topped a YCS somewhere. But I really enjoy the way this plays. It's definitely something that I'm quite comfortable with. The Priestess build has been clogging quite a lot for me. But I will be jumping backwards and forwards, and we will see what I play in the future. And I'm still trying to toy with a Reaper build. But at the moment, yeah, I'm sorry for my absence. Writer's block combined with kind of just a general dissatisfaction with the game currently is meaning that I'm just not posting videos. I haven't quit. I'm not dead. I'm just a wee bit tired with the way the game is going, but I'm going to try and get back into it. If there's any segments you'd like me to do, please PM me your ideas, and I guess I can try and give them some thought. But otherwise, yeah, this is me, Jamie the Kid 00, and I should be back at least on Saturday with a tournament diary because I have a locals then. But otherwise, hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye.